Hey everyone, this is Neil with Wasted Paper here, bringing you another fountain pen review. This is the first fountain pen review I've done since getting my setup kind of made, and normally I don't show myself as much on my channel as I probably should, so I'm gonna try it with this video and just start my intros like this. Let me know what you guys think about it, and we're gonna get straight into the pen I bought for Christmas. So the pen we're going to be looking at is a pen from Leonardo. This is a Hatch collaboration amongst 20 sides. She did this through Endless Pens, through their Hatch program, and this pen is called Midas. I actually saw this pen a while back during the original launch of it, and I wasn't totally in love, at least with how the video and pictures looked of it, but at Orlando, when I went to that pen show and helped Endless Pens, I actually got to see this pen in person, and it started to grow on me a little bit. I wasn't there all the way yet, just a little bit. But now that they're doing their Black Friday, Christmas kind of sale stuff, this is on sale right now, and I was able to get it at a very good price, and I'll tell you about that later. On the oversleeve, it says Midas. It has 20 sides. It has this artwork that I really like. I'm a pretty big fan of that, to be honest with you. It's pretty nice looking. And then on the bottom, it says Leonardo and 20 sides again, and then there is a QR code for those of you that want to scan it. You can. Inside of that, another oversleeve. Not much to say there. And underneath that, we have some instructions that all the pens come with. They give you a little bit of history on the brand. You'll see this a lot in every Leonardo, as well as how to use a piston, and it also has like converter and stuff in there as well. Like I was saying already, when I first saw this pen, I saw the MZG 2.0, which has some differences I'll mention later. But that being said, I saw it and I thought it looked good. It was expensive because that version only had a gold nib, whereas this one came in a steel, and that's kind of much more up my alley, at least lately with everything going on. But now that it's on sale, I was like, I really have no excuse. I think now is my time. I don't have any really like yellow or gold pens, if you will, not at least full bodied like this. And I think it really captures the Midas design. So every Leonardo pen comes with a little charm. Get used to seeing those if you buy these a lot like me. And if you haven't seen one of these models before, the MZ is their most popular by far. It has a pointed finial up top and on bottom. Down from there, you have their iconic Italian clip. It's a roller wheel clip. You'll see the little ball right there. These are fairly easy to get underneath and they actuate really well. And then on this one, you have 3 bands, with the biggest one being this geometric pattern. This is by far my favorite band that they do. I think it is just such a nice aesthetic, and it looks classy. And honestly, with the Midas theme, I don't know what about it that I like so much, but it gives me that kind of glyph, ruin kind of aesthetic. I think it works really well here. And then you have another trim ring right here, which that's just where the end of the cap meets the pen. And then down at the bottom, one more trim ring. And then this is a blind cap because you have a converter underneath. The pen uncaps in just under 1 rotation. I don't know if it's always been that way. It's been a while since I've actually counted, but that's, I love Leonardo's. The grip section on the Momento Zero is a bit unique. There's not many pens that do this, really. You have a little area behind the threads right here that is the same height as the threads. These are integrated straight into the pen right there. The threads are smoothed out. There's a little bit of friction where I'm catching myself, but again, as you would expect, nothing sharp. Italian pens to me are the perfect level of craftsmanship. They do the best work. And then the grip, it has a taper right here, which is a little hard to showcase on this color, but it tapers down to a completely straight edge right here. And there's really no grip like this. Honestly, there may be some that I'm not familiar with, but at least in my collection, only my Leonardos have a grip like this. I've grown accustomed to it. At first I was like, there's not really anything preventing you from going on the nib, but there's something about the way this like just has that decline right there. It cups your fingers really well, and I love this pen. The nib on here is the iconic La Fenice nib. It looks like a phoenix. It has this like outburst from the center where their logo is. Mine has an M on it because I do have a medium nib. As the trim already shows, it is gold. It matches that aesthetic. Everything is gold here. And since it is steel, it is paired with a plastic feed. For those of you curious if the pen posts, yes, they post very well and very secure. For me personally, it's a little long posted. I don't really use my Momento Zeros posted, but I do see a lot of videos on YouTube because I kind of live on the website. So if posting is something you like, I think you'll be right at home. Just for me, I think it's too long on this pen myself. The grip section is easy to get into. You have metal threads here, which I actually did not expect the threads to be gold like that. That's such a simple touch and I really like it. So something unique to Leonardo converters, and it's a detail that I think gets overlooked a lot, is instead of having a plastic knob on their converters, they have a metal like sheath on here, which is your rotating knob. Super nice looking. And the other thing I love is they always match the trim. So since this has gold trim, the knob handle right here is gold. I think that's just, no one's doing that. No one is looking at that, especially at this price point. I really like that, and it's just, oh, I love it. Also, the converter, for those of you curious, is threaded into the pen. Truthfully, I don't notice any sort of difference between threaded or friction fit, but as far as a placebo effect goes, I like the threaded more. The ink I'm going to be going with today is 2-row. I hope it's called that and not Toro. I don't want to say it wrong, but this is from the Pilot Orochizuku line. When it's translated, I believe the name is Warm Lantern. And it's just a nice like in-between orange yellow. It probably leans closer to orange, but it's a nice colorway and it's newer, and I got one of these smaller bottles so I could buy it and test it, so we're gonna use it in this pen. For my writing sample today, we're gonna be using a different notebook. This one says Okushina Dabutsu Kobo. I hope to God I did not butcher that too much. I actually went to Barnes & Noble recently and I saw this there and I picked it up. I thought it looked fancy and I liked the aesthetic of the toast and the little cat. So we're going to try this out. It is grid paper and it's kind of cream. It doesn't really look like it on here, but I promise you it's a cream paper. So we're going to check it out and see if this is fountain pen friendly at the same time that we do this writing sample. When it comes to the writing sample, Leonardo's steel nibs really set the bar for like, I think, the best steel nibs out there. I just love them. I think the engraving is so classy and so clean, and they just write really, really smooth. You're probably not going to say this is better than a gold nib, but the nibs that they make for their steel category are just top tier. They're A1. That being said, overall, smooth writing experience. Fast writing kept up just fine. For flex, there is literally none. The steel nibs, though they are very good and write very smooth, they're not something that you're going to buy for a line variation, and that applies to most brands, to be honest with you. There are some, but not many that are doing like steel flex. And then here again, you can see the lines side by side. There's really just nothing to showcase when it comes to flex. Overall, I love Leonardo pens, so this is no surprise. It writes really, really well. Oh, also, the paper did really well too. There's a little bit of feathering, which I would not expect with the Pilot Orochizuku ink, so it's definitely this paper. But for 15 bucks, I got this nice little notebook with some nice decals. I'm happy with the performance. For my size comparison, I have my tried and true Lamy Safari and my Pilot Custom 823. I'm also going to be using the Planetary Nebula, which is a Leonardo they released, I think it might even be a year ago now. I did a video on this a long time ago, but the reason I'm grabbing it is because it is a Momento Zero Grande 2.0. So if you're interested in what the size of that pen will look like if you decide to get the bigger one, I'll have that here for you as well. The Momento Zero really falls near identical to the Lamy Safari. I think in hand you would honestly not be able to tell the difference. And then the Grande is just slightly longer than the MZ. Uncapped now, the overall length of these pens, again, is all near identical. It's so close, you barely are going to see any difference here. I want to say the MZ is just slightly shorter than the Safari, but it's very close. Again, it's one of those things in hand, you're not even going to notice this. As far as the pens go posted here, the Momento Zero is near identical to the Custom 823 posted, but the big difference, and why I would prefer the Custom 823, just so people know, is how deep this posts. Since the cap is this far down, it gives you a better feel in hand and just a better weight in general. As for the Momento Zero Grande, you can see it's just slightly longer. I never realized how close the dimensions of these two pens are. Like, it's really not that big of a difference when it comes to the MZ and the MZ 2.0. I don't know if I just always assumed it was way bigger, but the length difference is like so minor amongst these two pens. That's literally your length difference right there. It's very, very small difference. The big thing is really the grip section's a lot wider on the MZG 2.0. You get the ink window, and then obviously overall, the pen itself is wider diameter-wise. When it comes to the price of the Midas Leonardo Momento Zero from Hatch, you are looking at $255 MSRP. This pen is on sale right now, where you'll get 15% off just by adding it to cart. And then if you use my discount code, you're going to get an additional 15% off. So you actually can get this pen right now for $184.24. And I mentioned it earlier, but this pen does come in a Momento Zero Grande version. These were numbered, so there is probably not a lot of stock. It looks like extra fine and broad are out of stock. That pen retails at $650, which is a big jump. The main reason being is it has a gold nib. It also has 15% off, and then if you use my code on that, you can end up getting that pen for $469.63. As for my opinion, I'm always going to have a very huge likeness and fondness for the Momento Zero. I think Leonardo makes the best pens available right now, at least at these price points. I'm sure you can find some different stuff at different price, but I think the prices that he sells the Momento Zero at is just top tier pricing. You're going to get a pen that has that Italian craftsmanship, one of the best metal bands that has ever been made. And the blank on this, I totally forgot to mention that it's made by Mackenzie Penworks. So you're going to have your diamond cast, you're going to have your gold. This pen just screams color to me. And I know it's pretty tonal. You have different shades of gold here, all the way from the light to the almost dark brown. But it's just overall, I think, such a good looking pen. And in person, you can really see the glitter on here. On camera, it's not doing it justice. I promise you, that's kind of what swayed me with seeing it in Orlando. But obviously right now, the biggest pro is that price getting reduced so much. As for cons, personally, I don't like posting the Leonardos, so it's not the biggest con, it's really preference. I'm just not the biggest fan of how these pens are posted. These can be considered expensive pens for what you're getting, but to me, I just think the craftsmanship you get from an Italian pen, specifically Leonardo, it just makes up for it. I think these are just the best pens. But all that being said, that's it for me. I hope you guys like this new kind of aesthetic. I have this like bamboo desk now to kind of showcase everything a little bit better. And I have this bright light over here. Let me know how the lighting looks for you guys and if you enjoy that. And I'd like to pose a question to everyone out there. Do you think there is a brand that makes steel nibs better than Leonardo? If so, let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to broaden my horizons for 2026. All that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, please hit that subscribe button. And if you hit that bell icon, it's going to notify you every time I drop a video, which on average is every Sunday. And as always, thank you for watching.